Go ahead.
Rewind. Start again.
I have spent the last 20 years in the media manufacturing business, and primarily that's been in music. So that 13-year-old who discovers John and Paul will very likely steal it before he buys it. So with all the many comparisons that exist between this situation and the music business, how are you addressing the fact that content has suddenly become free, and that whereas an artist can tour and sell T-shirts and monetize his existence in that way, how does an author and a publishing company or anybody affiliated with that look toward a future where revenue can be gathered from that content creation?
I'm personally not persuaded that there's a piracy problem for books. Okay, I don't say that. I'm not persuaded that there isn't, but I don't think we have any evidence. The only evidence that we have is that there are pirated editions of books available on pirate websites. We have no stats that tell us that heavy book consumers are downloading that free content. We don't know whether they are or not, okay? The music business and the magazine and newspaper business have a problem that we don't have, which is that they were selling people stuff they didn't want. People wanted 2 songs, but they had to buy an album. I want the box scores, I've got to get the news from Baghdad at the same time. I've got it in the newspaper, okay? So what's happened is magazines, newspapers, and music were aggregated. A bunch of stuff that didn't have to be together was aggregated in order to provide the physical unit that could work commercially in the marketplace. Books are a unit for most part, and as a matter of fact, the ones that aren't are the most challenged. What books are having the most problems? Travel books, right? I mean, travel books are a real problem because it's a bunch of aggregated information that you don't really want all. You're not going to every city in Europe. You're not going to every city in France. You're looking for a hotel room in Paris. You can do that in a book, not anymore, okay? Because you got to buy this whole book with all this stuff in it to find 6 pieces of information that you want. You don't do it. So those books which are unitary, which is most of the books, and in fact, particularly most of the books in the big 6 houses. So in this case, the big 6 houses are in, I think, better shape than they think. Those books are units which people want. So at least people are not starting out with the problem that people, in order to get what they want, have to find some other way to deal with it, whether it's piracy or whether it's iTunes or websites, right? I mean, newspapers are having all these complaints at the moment because people don't buy the newspaper. They get the story from Yahoo or Google, and they go straight to that story, and that's really the problem. It's not really that there's piracy. It's that you're not selling the whole newspaper to that person. You're just showing them one story. So the first thing I think is publishers better figure out how much this piracy really is a problem. And I don't think that there's a study being done by BISG and Bowker, and I'm not sure whether they accepted my suggestion, but I suggested that they agreed that we should use the study to find out about piracy. And then the question was how. So they had a question which was, have you bought an ebook from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Sony, blah, blah, blah. So I said, you know what, why don't you make it happen, download an ebook and mix the pirate sites in there alphabetically. Okay, and then you're asking, so somebody checks off Rapid Share, okay, and they say that they buy, 27 ebooks a year and they buy them all from Rapid Share. Wait, whoa, we're losing some business here, right? If you find that the heavy users don't do that, well then, it's a different situation. There was a conversation about piracy at Tools of Change in Frankfurt, and a friend of mine named Finola Duggan, who is in charge of digital for Random House UK, and is the spearhead of a movement in Britain, which you couldn't do here, to get all the ebook publishers together on format and DRM and so forth. Finola said, she was in the music business. She said, I was in the music business. I really worried about piracy. Kids steal. My customers are 53-year-old women. They are not going to go to a pirate site. They would be afraid of getting a virus. Okay? So in fact, books tend to be bought by people who are older, who are less inclination to steal because they have more money. I mean, it's less of a chore to pay the $10. They have more reason to fear being caught for a variety of reasons and the consequences of being caught. And they may even have some respect for copyright. Who knows? So I think that, which is much more likely when you're 53 than when you're 23. So I think that it's not clear to me that there's this problem. I think we need to find out. I suggested a couple of things that are antidotes to piracy. What I would do is I would look for all the pirated version editions, and I would upload 50 crack files of the same book to the pirate site. And I would let the consumer that wanted to steal sort it out. That seems like a much better solution to me than takedown notices. Yes?
In light of the news over the past couple of days about the e-book, tier thing, what do you think? How do you think it's going to play out? Like a year from now?
Well, it's funny. I've had my thinking evolve on this because my first reaction, I think, probably was pretty similar to a lot of people's reaction, which is, this doesn't make any sense, okay? Because if what you're saying is you want to protect the print book sale, and you're withholding the ebook because this $9.99 ebook is going to protect the print book sale, well, I don't buy that because personally, I don't read print books. I read ebooks. Since the Kindle came out, I've read one book in print. I don't expect to ever read another one, okay? I'm an ebook reader. If it's not available in the Kindle store, the B&N store, somewhere that I buy ebooks, then it's not available yet, as far as I'm concerned, okay? And I think similarly, people that read print books and they don't like reading on a screen, well, then they're not going to read on a screen to save $10 or $15. They don't read on a screen, okay? So it struck me like this is crazy, okay? But I realize it's not crazy because the big six control all the major authors, and Kindle has been using the major authors to sell Kindles. And what's happened is we now have 3 of the big 6 saying we're doing this, and the other 2 saying we're sort of doing this, and the 6th one will probably come in. So all of a sudden, Amazon's got a problem, okay? And they can't really get that content that they were counting on anymore, and the leverage has been reversed. Now, the question is Amazon going to punish these guys by taking buy buttons off the backlist, by burying books from recommendations that they otherwise would be recommending? It's a lot harder to do if it's all 6 of them, because these are the guys who sell most of the consumer books. But I think that there's a level on which this move, which must be endorsed by agents, there's no way that David Young and Carolyn Reedy and Brian Murray are doing this without having talked to many, many agents to know that many, many agents feel the same way they do about very, very valuable content being degraded in value by being sold very cheap. So I'm assuming that we're going to see a bit of a battle, and I don't know Amazon that well, so I don't know how much they'll dig in their heels. Michael?